SMT5 comes out in less than a week. The reviews for SMT5 are starting to come out. They're making a lot of unnecessary comparisons to Persona 5 in their reviews. Yes, in case you've been living under a rock for the last week, Shin Megami Tensei 5 is finally nearly out. It will come out on the 11th of November. And since we've been waiting for this game since 2017, this is pretty fucking monumental. Unfortunately, games journalists are doing what they do best, in which they bring the estranged sibling, Persona, into the room, compare it with their other child, SMT, and decide which one they like better depending on Persona's performance. Yeah, it went down about as well as you'd expect. I lost that analogy bit, but basically they're making comparisons to Persona in their reviews, and essentially the reviews turn into less of how good is SMT5, and more into how close to Persona 5 is SMT5. You can see why people are annoyed. So first things first, IGN. Yes, IGN, the site that no one likes, that no one listens to, that constantly misses the mark and barely passes their minimum for games journalism nowadays. That IGN. Their review is absolutely rife with comparisons to Persona 5, to the point that the conclusion of the entire review is, it's like Persona without the heart. IGN, unfortunately, are by no means the only big review sites making these comparisons. It's incredibly frustrating to see, but it feels like a lot of the reviews that are out there for SMT5 right now are using their experiences in Persona 5 to define how good of a game SMT5 is. And that shit's really sad. Here is some of the highlights that I've seen across all the reviews that I've read. Shin Megami Tensei 5 feels like the edgier, less sociable younger brother of Persona. What's missing from the Persona formula here? The music is pretty great. I just couldn't shake the feeling on the more iconic tracks. This was Persona. Persona might rule the roost, but still, even though the protagonist is not as relatable, it lacks the style and flair of Persona. The community over on the old Funny Blue Bird website has been absolutely enraged over the reviews and comments, to the point that they're just going out of their way to dunk every single one they see that makes a comparison to Persona 5, and discrediting these reviews where possible. Here's the thing. There is a comparison to be made between SMT5 and Persona 5. Now, before you get on my case and call me exactly the same as IGN and shit down my throat and whatever, let me explain. You can compare the two games without intrinsically tying the value of one to another. For example, I could say, I prefer the combat in SMT5 to Persona 5 because it's a lot more complex and allows me more variation in strategy and battle. I could also say, I prefer the combat in Persona 5 because it's easier to pick up and it's a lot more simple. And neither of these two statements would be conflicting in any way. The problem with these reviews is that they're actually adding the phrase, which makes it better, to the end of one of these subjective opinions. Now fundamentally, game reviews have to give a rating on a game. But in my opinion, you shouldn't be using your subjective experiences in one game and your opinions about one game to define your thoughts and feelings and the quality of another. Now as for the review at IGN, the person who wrote it, Liana, actually came out and apologized for the heavy-handed comparisons to Persona 5. And you know what? She didn't have to do that, and I completely respect that she did and appreciate it. Unfortunately, it's her statement itself that's very telling of the state of games journalism as it is right now. And before I read it, I'd like to stress that I have no ill will towards Liana, and honestly, I don't want anyone to go and attack her or harass her on social media. She's just been doing her job. That said, here's the tweet. I get that mainline SMT fans are tired of having their favourite series compared to Persona, which has become much more popular even though it doesn't work for them and they feel like they've been left behind by Atlas. That totally makes sense to me, 100% fair criticism. Second tweet. I don't live in that world, so I didn't know it was a major pain point that has existed for years, and I probably would have cut back on the Persona 5 comparisons if I did. So if that's your main issue with the review, yeah, fair. I appreciate those of you who are not being toxic. There's a few things here that I'll come back and dissect later, but the thing I really want to focus in on is I don't live in that world. In my opinion, when you're charged with the responsibility of giving a rating and deciding the quality of something, a piece of media, a book, comic, show, game, movie, whatever, you kind of owe it to the community that you're writing the piece for to know what they're about, you know? Because that's where you're going to be pulling the majority of your clicks from at the end of the day. And it's not really good enough to just tarnish everyone and say a gamer, because someone who only plays the yearly releases of Madden and FIFA and Call of Duty is going to be vastly different to your average Nintendo fanboy or your JRPG fan. Now you can argue that there are specialist sites and blogs that are more in tune with their audience and that they should just go there for their news instead. But when you're IGN, it's a bit different, and I feel it's only fair that you understand where the main bulk of your clicks are coming from, right? A small, tiny amount of research could have uncovered that no, the SMT mainline fans do not like being compared to Persona at all, and this whole debacle could have been easily avoided. What's done is done now, and while I may not agree with the points raised by IGN, I can certainly appreciate that the game is going to be good by the conclusions of all of these reviews that I've seen thus far. So that's what I can be excited for. The thing that I really wanted to talk about was the other thing that was in Liana's tweet. So if I roll back to that real quick, she finishes her second tweet with, "I appreciate those of you who are not being toxic. The Mega 10 diehard community is a festering shithole. I've seen some of the worst of a few fan bases at this point, some of the most brain-dead, frustrating and annoying takes that any man has really had to sift through. Be it Smash Brothers, Pokemon, or our old friend Persona, it doesn't matter. Every community has its annoying, loud, bad eggs, right? But not any single one of them was as fast to jump or as quick to... But not any single one of them was as fast to jump as the SMT hardliners were. Fuck me. Like it or not, right, there are comparisons that can be made between SMT 5 and Persona 5, and saying otherwise is being just willfully ignorant. Some of you guys parade around like playing the mainline series gives you a higher IQ in some way, but yet all I ever see from you guys is just the same two fucking jokes over and over again. And I swear to God, if I see one more time, Persona fans when they can't date a minor, one more time, I'm going to institutionalize every single one of you. And it's so frustrating because some of you talk about how easy it is to bait Persona fans, yet every single one of you fall for the easiest bait in the book. Take this for example, and I realise this is anecdotal, but take this for example. I went to Official Atlas when they were talking about SMT, and I said, play a real Persona game. And my God, it was like I just waved a red flag in front of a bull and said, come get me, I'm right here and very chargeable. Jesus wept! I can guarantee you, right? If you scroll through the IGN tweet where they posted their SMT5 review and you just scroll down for a bit, you will see some of the most easiest, most avoidable bait in the universe, and every single time there's an SMT fan that jumps on it. Look at this! Look at this! This is the easiest bait in the fucking world, and you just fall for it hook, line, and sinker every goddamn time. How? I understand that not the entire SMT mainline community is like this, but it doesn't change how frequently and how often I see this shit appear on my timeline. Because, for whatever reason, SMT fans are on fucking crack cocaine. I guess to conclude this video, I just have a few short words. Games journalists, make sure you understand your demographic before you publish an article, because then you can avoid this whole experience where someone becomes their JRPG Twitter main character for a day, and that just isn't very fun. Communities. Why are you shitting your pants over a games journalist site that you don't even care about on a good day? Let it go. Don't be mad because someone compared Scrimblow 6 to Blimblow 7, the spin-off series, because it's had much more success recently. You don't care about that anyway. Anyways, thank you for watching this video, I super appreciate it. I'll be picking up SMT5 on the 11th, so I'll be streaming it as soon as it comes out and getting it on digital download. If you fancy watching me stream it, I'll be streaming on twitch.tv/BosozokuGX. And if you'd like to see more of this kind of content, feel free to drop me a little subby wubby. I guarantee I've lost a subscriber for that. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Look after yourselves, look after one another. Catch you in the next one.